Here we are. It's Redneck Wednesday. Redneck Wednesday on Nightcaps and Nate. I got JD. JD, wave. JD, you there? There you are. And Uncle Grandpa. All right, you guys excited for another Redneck Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Did you like that music intro?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, wasn't it? So what's up, man? How's the great state of California, Colorado? Basically turning into California.
Are you serious?
It is. Don't you see the things that say, don't California my Colorado?
Yeah, that's true. It's hot, man. It's hot.
It's hot?
Hot. It's hot.
It's not hot here yet. I mean, it's about 70-something today, but
82 right now.
Grandpa.
What's up?
What's up? Go Dogs.
72, JD.
That's right. You guys ready to get into this nonsense?
It's supposed to snow this weekend.
I got a lot of stuff for us today.
Bring it.
Bring it. First thing first. Did you see the new numbers? I don't got them on the slides today, but IHME or whatever they call that, the ones that are doing the modeling. Now it's saying that even since last night's show, it's they're gonna round down. They're rounding down. It's looking like it's gonna be only maybe 68,000 deaths. So, I mean, considering that's less deadlier than the flu. Of course, we don't usually socially isolate like we have with this, but I mean, do you guys think that maybe we did this all for naught?
Is that national numbers?
Our national numbers, yeah, not worldwide, but national.
Because I looked up hours last night, and it said that we're still climbing dramatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Well, those are good numbers unless you have it or know somebody that has it.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're one of the unlucky ones that they got it, I mean that's kind of sucking. But I mean, was it worth shutting down the whole economy and doing $4 trillion in stimulus?
Well, just think if they wouldn't have closed all the schools up, Nate, how contagious that thing would have got out of hand.
Well, there was one epidemiologist that said, hey, if we would have socially isolated the vulnerable, like Uncle Grandpa and his age group, and people that we know that have cancer or had cancer, and just let the kids go to the school and become a petri dish and bring it, and we would have just been over with. This would be gone. We'd be done already. If we'd have done that back, say, in January, February, it's March, April, we'd be totally done. We'd be on spring break right now, soaking up the Kalahari foo-foo drinks this week.
That 68,000 would have been a different number, though.
It would have. Admittedly, it probably would have. Part of it, though.
So,
just like
what about kids with bad asthma?
Just like Cuomo says in New York, all New Yorkers' lives married unless you're getting aborted.
No, I don't think Cuomo says that.
Oh, yes, he did. He signed saying he signed up for the long-term abortions, didn't he?
Oh yeah, full-term abortion. Yeah, no, a lot of people lose that. A lot of people lose that in the mix there because they're saying how great of a job he's done, and I give him a B for this. He should have been more prepared because we're a federalist country, and so the state should have been more prepared. But I give him a B on how he's handled this. He's really cared for his people and all that stuff. But bottom line, his state wasn't prepared, and we can't forget the rest of his record where your baby's born alive, and then it's up to the doctor whether or not they're going to keep it alive. I mean,
exactly.
That's some sadistic shit right there, dude.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, even if you're pro-choice,
Even
if you're pro-choice, that's some sadistic.
You got to have some kind of heart.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. And the Dems are supposed to be the heartfelt people. It's sickening. All right, guess what? Big news today. Bernie drops out of the race, and the stocks rallied. The stocks rallied 778 points on the news that he dropped out of the race. What does that tell you? He would have been pretty bad for the economy, man. Because remember, when Trump took over, before this coronavirus thing, that stock market goes woo all the way up. I wish I had that soundtrack all the way up. That would make But he, I'm telling you, he had a good thing going there.
Yeah.
But I guess we
guess
got a little
what?
minor rally today because Bernie. So NASDAQ said further buying interest was generated in late morning trading in reaction to news Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, not even a Democrat, by the way, is dropping out of the race for the Democratic presidential nomination. It sets up a general election matchup between Donald Trump and this doofus here, Dementia Joe. I like the one that says, who puts the dem in dementia? Folks, roses are red, violets are blue. I have dementia, and so do I. I love that. Anyways, Dementia Joe is our man. Do you think, I mean, they're still saying it's going to be a really close race, but I think Trump wins this.
Oh, 100.
I mean, we can't be overconfident. We all got to get out and vote and get people out to vote, but the Trump base is fired up. Recent polling, and I'm going to actually get more on this tomorrow because I'm actually interviewing a black Republican friend of mine to talk about what it's like to be black and Republican. But it's getting more and more common, especially among black men. I mean, right now, polls are between 18 and 28% approval rate among black men. And if that holds true, Democrats are done. They can't afford to lose the black vote. That would tip cities like Detroit, Flint, Saginaw. That'd be Michigan. Boom. Milwaukee. That would give us Wisconsin. Philadelphia. I mean, you're starting to see more and more of it. Starting to see more and more of it. So, moving on. We do got to fight, though, this idea that because we have the coronavirus, even if it comes back in another wave, the Democrats and the media, they're going to push mail-in voting. Well, guess what happens when mail-in voting happens? There's a reason why the Democrats and their media, their lapdog media, hate voter ID.
They can't even count the votes in Iowa. How are they going to count votes by the mail?
Didn't even think about it. That's so true. Hell, they can't even keep track of 30,000 DNC emails. How the hell are they going to keep track of that many ballots? You know what I'm saying? And isn't it funny? Do you notice that the dead people, they never vote Republican. They tend to vote Democrat.
Never.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, we're so racist because we want voter ID. Dude. Yeah, voter ID. Unless we can get some sort of a biometric that shows fingerprints, like with the real ID, you have to give up a fingerprint. That's the only way that I say you can vote without an ID is to give up your fingerprint. Why? That way we can challenge it. We can run you through a database, and if you're illegal, we fry you. And you know what the problem is, too? Is that these Democrats vote in Democrat districts with Democrat judges that are judging them and handing out census. So what always happens? When they do get caught, which is rare, they go to court and they get this little slap on the wrist like, 30 days confinement and, $100 fine and $100 community service. Whoop-de-doo, man. And some of these elections are down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely.
There's some elections that go right down to that wire,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Florida. So the Heritage Foundation, they did just a sampling. This is not an exhaustive list, it says. The database is not an exhaustive or comprehensive list, but is intended to demonstrate the many ways in which fraud is committed. They found 1,000, out of just a sample, they found 1,277 proven instances of voter fraud. So when you hear the media say, nobody's ever brought up an instance of voter fraud, or it's super rare, they found 1,277, leading to 1,102 criminal convictions and 48 civil penalties. 95 got the diversion program. That means nothing at all happened to them. That's like probation without even having to show up. 15 judicial findings and 17 official findings. So, voter fraud is real. It does happen, and it overwhelmingly helps the Democrat Party. So when the media beats up Trump saying, hey, if we have mail-in ballot, for some reason it always benefits the Democrats and hurts the Republicans, that's why. It's voter fraud.
Opens it right up.
What'd you say?
I said it opens it right up to voter fraud.
Yeah, it opens it right up is right. I mean, you get grandma, let's say, even Whitley's grandma, right? My wife, she's old. Grandma Betty. She might not even know she ever got a ballot in the mail.
She's like Joe Biden.
Oh, that's messed up, man. Don't ever compare Sweet Betty to Joe Biden, Creepy Joe. But you know what?
Betty White, gonna do you right.
Just think about it. If she has somebody staying there or a grandchild living in her basement or something, she grabs that mail. She's a
Fills
millennial
it
or
out.
Gen Z. She wants to vote, you know, the way she wants. I mean, that's just wide open, man. And I can see, and the biggest voting bloc for the Republicans tend to be 60-year-old and older. You know, a lot of them guys, man, they might say, oh, and totally forget that they were supposed to get a mail-in ballot until it's too late.
Right.
Yeah, man, you guys are agreeable. I'm used to debating my sister on here.
You don't have to worry about that, bud.
I got to try to find a Democrat redneck like Willie Nelson.
It's going to be hard to contradict anything you say because we're all alike.
We are all alike. Right. Well, here's one that's not like us, but is like us now. Michigan Democratic lawmaker says hydroxychloroquine saved her life. Had it not been for Donald Trump taking heat from her own party for touting a drug that he said may or may not work. He even said, I'm not a doctor, but I would hate to be wrong and find out too late. So he ordered a bunch of this drug, hydroxychloroquine. She had to beg for it because Governor Whitmer, who's a Democrat in Michigan, tried to block it, and she finally got it. And guess what? 2 hours after she started taking it, she had symptoms for weeks and weeks, and she was getting progressively worse. Within 2 hours after taking it, she said it turned a corner for her. I'll tell you what. Grandpa.
How many of those Democrats would be laying on their deathbed gasping for air on a ventilator?
Yeah.
They'd be begging for that drug.
And what's the likelihood that you live after that? Once you get that intubated?
I'll try anything. I'll drink horse piss.
Yeah. I think once you get to that point, there's no turning it around.
Yeah, but what if we can prevent people from going in the hospital in the first place? You know, they start having symptoms. We give them doxycycline or a Z-Pack plus this hydroxychloroquine just until we get something better. Okay, granted, there may be harmful things, but Democrats, they would rather just sit on, you know, Democrats are hypocrites because if he sat around and did nothing, they would have said, oh, well, there was this generic drug out there called hydroxychloroquine that he could have used and the FDA could have approved, but he stood in the way of it and because he wanted studies and people died. And he was doing that because he's tied to Big Pharma and he was waiting for an expensive drug to come. Or the other side, he does what he does and he still gets beat up. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
There's no sense of reasoning with these folks. That's why like people like Mitt Romney or the late John McCain and all those that they love to appease Democrats because they love the press attention. As soon as you run against a Democrat, as you saw with Romney against Obama, they're going to turn on you anyways.
Cut your throat.
They'll cut your throat. Yeah, they're like your buddies until you're until they get around their own buddies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why they don't like Trump. Because Trump, he don't give a shit. He just goes right for it.
Yeah.
You know, just don't care. Meanwhile, in socially distanced New York City. This might take a second to load up, but I'm going to show the viewers what's happening in the lawless city of New York City since de Blasio took over. Come on.
Well, that's for a private week.
I'm recording this.
Yeah, they shot him.
Yo! What the f?
No, what the f?
What the f was this shit about? Oh shit! Holy! Run! Yo, what the fuck? Swear on him like that.
Ain't that some crap, dude?
Hmm.
I'll tell you what. Oh, did we lose? We lost Mr. JD. It looks like it's just me and you, Uncle Grandpa. But hey, man. I mean, I hate to use the word savages because it can take on a bad connotation, a racial connotation. But them jokers just straight up. That's savagery right there.
Yes.
That is, man. Not only did, you know, they sit there and watch and they're like, oh, at first like, oh. But then they start cheering on the dude to run. After he just clocked a cop. You know? And I know that cop, he's probably going to look at that video and just man, as a former cop myself, you never let somebody get between you. That close to you. That guy was circling right in between him and a car.
What if he would have pulled his gun out and shot him?
I don't know what happened to his taser because he had it pointed at him. He should at least popped him once, just for good measure. You know,
hey, that's like a everyday thing in New York, though.
It is. I showed something yesterday. Same thing, man.
Just about, you know.
And they don't bother arresting him. I did some research, and the last guy that made the news that sucker punched a cop like that, he didn't even get a bail. He got that no bail, let out of jail. Same day.
Yeah. Punched
a cop. And if you don't have people that can enforce the peace, guess what? There's not going to be any peace. The criminals are scared. They are no longer worried. Remember when New York City was a big old crap hole in the 1980s, 70s and stuff? Right. And 90s even. And then a guy named Mayor Giuliani, a Republican, a conservative, came in and said, nope, from now on I stand with my cops. And he stood with them. Sometimes erroneously shouldn't have. Like with that dude where the cops shoved the plunger up his anus like 50 times. But besides that, he stood with his cops, man. He said, we are going to where we are going to bust everybody for every crime. It was called the broken windows theory. And it led to stop and frisk, which I disagree with. You don't need to do stop and frisk. All you got to do is enforce the laws that are on the book. There's so many of them. Stop and frisk is bad when there was no crime committed. But if you commit even the smallest crime, you can be frisked.
Exactly.
And that's what they need to do, man. And then de Blasio, he came in all, even Bloomberg was tough on crime. And he was kind of a Republican Democrat. You know, we just saw he just turned Democrat not too long ago. But and then de Blasio comes in, Mr. Wokester. I don't know what New York City was thinking, man. New York City's like Michigan. And Michigan's the same way. And I fear a lot of states are going to go this way. When they're in trouble and the economy sucks and there's high crime, they get a Republican in there to fix it, right? We had a guy named Blanchard, and then a Republican named Engler came in, fixed everything, and we go and we elect Granholm. And she was just a big failure. She's always on MSDNC, and I don't even know why they have her on there. She was a huge failure for Michigan. So then we get this guy named Governor Snyder. He fixes Detroit, everything. And now we got Governor Whitmer in Michigan. What the hell are y'all thinking in Michigan? I don't vote in Michigan anymore, so I'm not taking the blame this time.
It's like the Democrats think that we don't want to piss anybody off because we're afraid we might lose a vote, whereas Republicans aren't like that. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we've changed a lot with Trump. Now we don't give a crap. Now it's just, hey, this is the way it is. This is how it's got to be. If Trump, and I said this last night on my show, if Trump would just shut up and lead sometimes, he steps on his own message. Most of his messaging I love because he's strong and he takes the press on, but sometimes he'll come out and just say something so out of left field that, so out of left. And then he just steps on his own stupid message, man.
Well, I kind of like it like that. I mean, because he's not going to be bullied by the press.
I'm down with that. But sometimes he goes a little too far and gives the press something to something to beat him up on. I know you can't appease the press ever because no matter what he does, he's going to get beat up
every day, Nate. Can you imagine if a fly gets shown you every day?
Yeah, that's what I tell a lot of people, man. Sometimes I think he overreacts just because, and he doesn't give the benefit of doubt to a reporter because guess what? They're always out to get him.
Always.
And did you see that thing yesterday? There was a Chinese reporter, and she was like, and he says, are you working for state media? Who do you work for? Come to find out, they did some digging, and sure enough, she works for a media organization that is like in bed with the Communist Party of China. Yeah. So he's got smart instincts. He had good instincts about this virus. He said, it's not going to be as bad as they said. He got lambasted, still gets lambasted. And sure enough, that report came out earlier this week. They revised down the total deaths from 200,000 to about 80,000 and now down to 60,000. So he was right. He's got good instincts. You don't become a billionaire with bad gut instincts.
But you know what? It's like when it all first went down, he just didn't want to cause panic.
That was
He could easily got on there and say, hey, the world's fixing to end tomorrow. We got to do something. But he didn't. He didn't want to panic everybody.
Well, and Republicans think with logic, whereas Democrats think with heart, and sometimes that's why you kind of need both. That way, you're not too much evil brain and not enough heart mixed in. But if you remember George W. Bush, when he was told about 9/11, he was reading to the kids, but he didn't want to cause panic, so he was just very calm. You know?
They burned him up on it.
Could you imagine if Joe Biden? Joe Biden
the media
wouldn't even know where New York
burnt him
City
up
is at
on
this
it.
moment, huh?
The media burnt Bush up on that.
They did. They said, and then that led to all the truth, the 9/11
Conspiracy
claims
theories
and all that. Like, he knew, that's why he didn't. Nah, man, he was a cool, calm, collected leader. I'm not a big fan of Bush, but he was a cool, calm, collected leader.
Yep.
In fact, he was too calm to where he never defended himself, and that's why he left office with a 32% approval rating. What did him in was immigration, huh?
Not Trump. He's going to defend himself.
Yeah, Trump. And Trump sometimes overdoes it, But you know what? That's what I love about him, man. He does not take crap from the media, and the media hates him. The media hates him because Republicans have always kowtowed and hunkered down and let the media just beat on them. And he changed it up, man. He really changed it up. And I think it's working for him. I mean, if some of these polls hold true, he's winning re-election. He he won't win the popular vote, maybe, but he will win all the key states because there are some surprising numbers with Hispanics and especially black men. They said black females are still very entrenched against them, but black men, I mean, they're coming around. Here's another cute little story because you love dogs so much. You and Whitley and JD. You guys are little girls, but that's cute. If you foster a dog, you get a beer? No, you don't just get a beer. You get 3 months of free beer from Bush. My wife is getting excited, I'm sure, watching this as we speak.
Wow.
But it's not going to happen. We're not going to foster or adopt a dog. Not for 3 months of free beer. Because A, it's Bush beer, and I don't drink Bush beer. And B, they're way more expensive. But I love what they're doing. Oh, and it's only up in Minnesota. Apparently, there must be an overcrowded animal rescue up there. But that's kind of cool. 3 months of free beer. It costs them nothing to make beer.
Hey, I got a question from you from your show last night.
What's that?
They're talking about giving people $25,000 if they're still working.
Yeah.
Essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you give a kid that works at Burger King that makes $12,000 a year a $25,000 bonus?
To make sure he gets out and votes for that Democrat that gave it to him.
There you go.
I mean, come on. 25 grand. First of all, they're not going to come out and vote anyways. Kids just don't vote.
Yeah.
Like my son. My son is a pretty conservative guy. He loves the Shapiro show and all that. But unless I call him on the day of the election, say, get up, get ready, come on, you got to go vote. He's not getting out of bed to vote. Young people just don't care to vote. They'll bitch, but they don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you should be able to vote 18. But since they raised the vaping law to 21, maybe we should wait to 21 to let people vote.
Or till their minds fully develop.
Yeah, because you really don't develop till about 25, 24. You notice people turn a lot more conservative once they start having a family and actually paying taxes.
Exactly. Hey, and the $25,000, I do think medical people need to get it, like nurses, doctors.
I do too.
I think they should get it.
I do too. Or use it to a little bit of a bonus to them, but use it to bail out these small hospital systems that are going out of business because elective procedures have been way down.
Yep.
Hospitals don't make the majority of their money off ERs. Like the emergency room might be expensive, but it's expensive because so many people use it and don't ever pay their bill. Like the uninsured or the illegal immigrants, right? Or Medicaid, Medicare, they don't really reimburse fully what the cost of doing a procedure is. So these hospitals depend on elective surgeries like a $40,000 knee replacement.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah. And just think about it. Most people that get one done, they're like, hey, let me get the other one done.
Exactly.
So in 1 year, you're doing $80,000 in elective procedures. I mean, granted, you got real insurance, but, that's not a bad deal, dude. Not a bad deal. All right, guys. It's Redneck Wednesday, so these shows are a lot shorter typically. So I'm going to get right to my final thoughts. Final thought. This one is for you, Whitley, and for JD and his wife. And I don't know if I want to assign it to you, Grandpa and Laura, but Couple married for over 50 years die of coronavirus holding hands together. An elderly Mississippi couple died from the coronavirus just minutes apart while holding hands after they contracted a deadly illness on a cruise ship, their pastor said. Apparently they go on a lot of cruise ships and they always came back sick of something. But when they came back sick this time, it did them in. Sad story, but it's great. Whitley and I, we used to, back when she used to love me. Now we've been married too long. But we used to watch that Notebook. Remember the Notebook? Have you seen the Notebook?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and they die hand in hand with dementia. Yeah, this couple really got to do it. So apparently they were in a hospital, both on ventilators, so they had to move them together. Apparently they died hand in hand on ventilators.
What's your favorite saying? You come in the world on diapers and go out on diapers.
Yeah, you come in artificially breathing, go out artificially breathing. So kudos to them. I'm glad they made it all this time. Any parting thoughts? Who would you die with? Your mama? Your dad?
Me?
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot because I know your girlfriend's watching.
Makes no difference to me, brother. I'm ready. Whenever.
Quincy? Your dog?
Quincy.
Your dog?
Quincy, yeah.
I would die Whitley. Whitley's my boo, so I don't say that just because your daughter.
Peace out.
Peace out. Wait, why is there 3?
Peace out. Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. All right, here's the deal, man. Join us tomorrow, 9 p.m. Back with my sister so we can get some lively debate going here. And tomorrow we're actually going to be interviewing, if it goes through. Last time he had to cancel because of family emergency, but hopefully we can get it this time. But we will be interviewing my friend, Kareem Jackson. He is a black Republican. He wants to talk about what it's like to be black and Republican and the stigma that he faces for being such. Hopefully you like this lighthearted edition every Wednesday of Redneck Wednesdays. That way every single day doesn't have to be full out debate. Have yourself a drink. Enjoy yourself. Stay quarantined until it's over. It's coming soon. Stay safe. Goodbye.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.